Hello, greetings, and hello. Well, today I've got a fairly significant update on the old Hasegawa P-12E. Done quite a bit of work on it, and it's coming along nicely. Starting to look like an airplane, which is sort of the whole point of the exercise, I think. Really. Anyway, so here's what we've got. This is how it's looking. I've got the bottom wing on. I've got the belly tank on there. Now, the bottom wing was not a great fit. Took quite a bit of filler to blend that in. Now, I have said in a previous video that I'm not a big fan of relying on filler to fix fit problems, and that is quite true. I would much rather deep dive, if you will, into the old fit problem itself and find out what the root cause is and fix that. However, in this case, I just kind of had to use filler. And the reason being was that the forward edge of it, I had quite a step between the fuselage and the front of the wing. And yes, I could have corrected that, but that would have meant that the wing roots would have then have moved up, and I would have had a step between the wing root on the fuselage and the root of the wing itself, which is not what we want. So in this case, I had to use filler. As it turned out, mostly a pointless exercise because, of course, the belly tank covered most of it up anyway. Oh, oops. Hey ho, it's on. It's looking okay. Pretty happy with the fit. And as you can see, I've also masked off the orange stripe down the side, on both sides there. And I've masked off the cockpit with a piece of foam insulation and filled the gaps with liquid masker. Yeah, so, and just so you're aware, I have been using, if I can find it here, oh, here we are, this product here for my masking. It's cut into thin strips, 1mm and 2mm, and it is Mr. Finery pre-slit masking tape. Mr. Finery slit masking sheets. Sorry, my apologies. I don't really know what to say about that. I'm sure it makes sense in Japan, but Mr. Finery? What? Anyway, really, really handy. Saved me the trouble of having to cut pieces of tape into thin strips to mask out the outline of this stripe. Don't know if this product is still available, but yeah, quite useful. So that's what I use for that. And then, of course, just filled in the rest with larger bits of masking tape, and we're good to go on the Olive Drab. Now, Olive Drab. Well, there's a can of worms. Let's get into that one, shall we? Just put that over there. Now, I've been using, as my reference for the colors, this particular production right here. And in the back, it has paint chips of the various colors used in aircraft from the pre-war and into the World War II era. Quite handy. Now, as we all know, I'm sure, that like scale drawings, we have to take paint chips with a kind of a grain of salt, because I don't know how accurate these are. I don't know what the source is for these paint chips. I don't know where they got the colors from. But as a guide, yeah, it has its uses. And for the sake of argument, I'm just going to use these and try and match these colors as best I can. Now, it should be noted that there are two versions of Olive Drab in here. One is your typical ANA 613, which is the World War II color we've all come to know and love, and one which is applicable to the topic here, this darker and greener Olive Drab. That's what I'm going to be using. That's what I'm going to try and match. And that in itself turned out to be quite an interesting exercise.
So, please join me now on an exciting journey of discovery into the fascinating world of Olive Drab paint.
I have several options at my fingertips for Olive Drab to choose from. All of them are enamels. I did have some polyscale acrylic Olive Drab, but as I just discovered, it has turned into a rock solid lump. So needless to say, I didn't use that one. Anyway, so for the purposes of today's discussion, all of the paints I'm using are enamels, and I have some from Dester's Model Master, Olive Drab. I have two different ones from Humbrol, which I'm going to get to in a second. That's them. And finally, we have extra color X112. Now, this one claims to be ANA 613, the official designation for olive drab, so you would think that this is going to be the one to pick, but sadly, extra color disappointed me a little bit with this one, and I'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. So, Humbrol, confusingly, has two different olive drabs in their range, and they are both just listed as olive drab. They don't say that one is dark olive or helicopter olive drab, or one is just regular olive drab. They're just both olive drab. Confusingly, they also have a light olive in their range, which in previous incarnations of this is their latest listing, which I just downloaded and printed off. Number 86 previously was called light olive, and it is now just called olive green, right up there. Nonetheless, I'm going to discount that one because it's much lighter and it doesn't say drab, so it can't be olive drab, can it? Makes sense. Now, what I did was I made myself up some paint chips, and here they are here, on a sheet of plastic. Those are the three shades I'm going to be working with, or at least one of them anyway. When I compare this to the original Army Navy olive drab in my book here, which is right there, you can see that actually Humbrol is probably the closest. The extra color one, which claims to be this very color, is nowhere near. It's pretty dark. The other Humbrol olive drab is also far too dark. So we're going to get rid of those two. We're just going to work with this one. Now, if we compare this to the olive drab that we actually need for this project, get back in here. I think I need a drink. Anyway, here we are here. Get that. Where the hell is it? There it is, olive drab, right there. We can say that my Humbrol option is quite a bit lighter, and this is a little bit greener than what I'm working. So I'm going to have to make up a mix to try and match that as best I can. Of course, as you're probably aware, that depending on whatever televisual medium you are viewing this on, these colors could all look completely different than what I'm seeing. So you'll just have to take my word for it. Sorry. All right, so that's what I've got. Now, I thought that I could perhaps get away with some dark green in my Humbrol olive drab and come up with a reasonable mix that right off the bat would solve my problem. Well, that really wasn't the case. These are my initial three mixes. I first tried 16 parts of Humbrol. Let's get that in the frame there so we can all see. This one here, starting from the left. 16 parts of Humbrol HU155 and 4 parts of HU239, which is actually British Racing Green, quite a dark green. Closer, but still no cigar. So I then tried, what did I try? Good thing I wrote this down. HU155, olive drab, 18 parts of that, and 2 parts of the British Racing Green, and I came up then with this middle shade, which was a little bit lighter. And so I thought, aha, I nailed it. For sure, I've got it this time. 3 parts of the British Racing Green with 17 parts of the olive drab, which gave me this color here. Closer, but still no cigar. So I thought, let's just discount this one because I'm moving to another one now. I tried some willow green. No, sorry. HU2, emerald green. And I first tried this one here on the right. Am I right? Yes. Came up with that, getting a little bit closer. And then ultimately I came up with this one here, which actually on the camera looks quite a bit different, but in person it is very, very close. It's close enough for me. And that final mix is 18 parts of the olive drab, HU155, 1 part of the British Racing Green, 239, and 2 parts emerald green, HU2. So that's the mix I'm going to go with. It's not spot on, but it's pretty damn close. It's going to work for me. So that's what we're going to do now. paint the olive drab stuff.
Let's get on with that, shall we?
I reckon my book here. Jesus. Alrighty then, I've got everything masked up here, masked off the wings with paper towel and masking tape. Now, admittedly, I am doing things a little bit ass backwards here. I'm painting the yellow wings after the olive drab. Normally I'd put the lighter color on first and then do the olive drab, but I'm just finding it easier to handle and easier to mask this way. For the wings, I'm going to undercoat those probably in little Humboldt Trainer yellow. It's kind of an orangey yellow color. And then I'll use my Model Master Chrome Yellow, which is a very, very good match, actually, for the paint chips in the monogram book. So I'm just going to use that straight as is, out of the bottle, so to speak. And I've also used liquid masker on the ends of the wing struts and where the wheels go on, simply because I find that easier than trying to scrape the paint off later of these pesky little sticky out bits. And also, one thing that I darn near forgot was to mask the little holes in there where the machine gun barrels stick out, because there's every chance that I would have got olive drab overspray straight in there and all over the cockpit. So better safe than sorry. I've taken tiny bits of my styrofoam insulation and just shoved them in there to mask those off, just in case. You never know. And one other thing here, we've got the wing struts all ready to go, and you will notice by the white putty areas that there was some sizable ejection pin marks that I had to fill. And I've also done the ends of these with liquid mask. So, yes, ready for the olive drab. I've done up a triple batch of my special olive drab elixir, suitable for what ails you. And we're aiming for, roughly the consistency of 2% milk here. And one other thing I like to do is just sort of drag it up the sides of my little disposable shot glass and just make sure I've got sufficient opacity in the paint, which seems to be pretty good. I may not have mixed up enough here, but that's okay. I have a recipe. It can be reproduced. So, bottoms up. Alrighty. I think that's it. I'm ready to start painting. But first, a word from our sponsor. Okay, well, there you go. Many thanks to our sponsors, Chilliwack's Lockcar Palace and Thunderbird Models, aka me. Golly, I've never looked better, have I? Just me monkeying around. What can I say? Anyway, so I've got my olive drab paint on. There it is. And yeah, fairly happy with that. It all went swimmingly, except, well, there is always an except, isn't there? While I was handling it, I heard a rather unpleasant cracking noise, and I now have a seam right here that has popped open between the wing and the fuselage, and I have a nice big crack there. Excellent. Oh well, it happens. This older issue of kit does have fairly brittle plastic, and it seems that the glue joints can sometimes pop open on ya.
Joy.
Oh well. So I am going to have to fix that obviously and retouch that, but not a huge deal. The rest of it's looking pretty good, I think. And like that. And got the struts all done. And I also did the back of the wheels, which also had fairly nasty ejection pin marks in them that I had to fill. Anyway, so next step is, once I fix that nasty crack there, because nobody likes to do crack. Yes, I'll fix that, touch that up, and hopefully we're good to go. I'll unmask everything, and then I'm going to start to work on the wings. I'll give them an undercoat of yellow after I've masked off the fuselage, obviously. Got to rig up something for holding up the top wing, which is always a pain with the biplanes, is trying to figure out how to paint both sides of that without touching it. But I think what I'm going to do is just put this down here, put that over there. There we go. Oh, it's not good. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I've drilled holes in each of the strut mounts here, and I'm going to try and work out something where I can just sort of temporarily glue that to some mounts on a piece of wood or something, and then I can hold on to that and paint both sides of this. Should be fun. but we'll get to that. That'll be the next exciting episode where I'm going to paint the wings, and hopefully all going well, I'll have it gloss coated, and we can start with the decals or decals. And yeah, it's getting exciting, isn't it? I'm excited. Well, a little bit. All right, so that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and do consider becoming a member. I've just loaded another video up for members only, and my plan is to load at least 2 videos a month, members only videos, that is, and there's also going to be some other perks in there. I am working on another project, which I'm going to unveil very soon, and there will be some product to go along with that, which will be for members only. So do have a look at that, and as always, like and share and comment and dance and sing and laugh and other stuff. You know what to do. Now, I have one final thing. Let me just put this somewhere where I won't destroy it, as I tend to do. Excuse me. What was I saying? Oh yes, one final thing. Now, this is for my fellow Canadians. I don't really, or I've never really intended to use this platform for my own personal beefs, shall we say, outside of the modeling world anyway. However, I have been in rather lengthy battle with the Canadian Revenue Service for, well over 3 years now, and I'm no closer to getting that resolved. And trying to get through to them, as anyone who's ever tried, is an exercise in futility. So, I finally got pissed off, and I started a petition on change.org, and I'm going to leave a link to that in the description. I encourage all of my Canadian comrades and comradettes out there to please have a look at that and sign it, because frankly, the CRA is screwing us over, and our tax dollars are paying for it. So enough is enough. It's time to put an end to it. So have a look at that. Please sign the petition. Tell all your friends. Get them to sign it. And as always, we'll see you very, very soon. Do check out the shop for some cool merchandise, and become a member and a Patreon, and I don't know, adopt a bear. Thank you and goodbye.